It's been over a month since Hamas's deadly airstrike in Israel left more than 1,000 people dead and hundreds more injured.
Yeah, as the war rages on and Israeli airstrikes continue to assault Gaza, the humanitarian crisis is hard to put into words, to say the least. Palestinian health officials say hospitals have run out of electricity and supplies. The death toll has topped 11,000 and nearly 1.5 million people have been displaced. So Unicef, we know them well, has been on the ground delivering supplies to the region. This morning, we are joined by Toby Fricker. He's a Unicef representative based in the region. He's joining us from Amman, Jordan. So thank you so much for being here this morning and to talk more about this. Appreciate your time. Let's begin with how long you've been in that region, right? And how close you've been able to get to the front lines and what you're seeing.
Yeah, no, thanks so much. I mean, UNICEF has worked in the region, obviously inside the Gaza Strip for many years. We have teams on the ground there now, and it's a tragedy. I mean, it's a tragedy, of course, what happened to Israeli children, what happened to the children who have been abducted, who need to be released immediately, safely, unconditionally. And it's a tragedy now for children across the Gaza Strip who are living through this day in, day out. What we're seeing is really, unfortunately, the situation day in, day out, we hope would improve, but it's getting worse and worse. The intensity of the hostilities is getting worse. We have now in a situation where premature babies are struggling to survive in hospitals, 1.5 million people displaced, around 750,000 children living in shelters and other areas where the conditions are also worsening. In turn, winter's approaching, and we're really concerned for their well-being and another catastrophe unfolding on top of the number of children who've been reportedly killed and injured already.
Yeah, the numbers are so heartbreaking. You talk about this tragedy. I mean, there's no electricity. There's no running water. Hundreds of schools have been destroyed. Families are fleeing without any idea of where they're actually headed. So is there anybody right now on the ground that's trying to guide them to someplace safe?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's horrific. I mean, just imagining being a parent, with your children in that situation, trying to protect them day in, day out, like literally every second. We've had UNICEF staff members talk about their own children and how they're just trying to do whatever they can to keep them safe, and they just want to, like a 12-year-old daughter just saying she just wants to escape, just somehow escape, but they can't. So we see children have been moving, people have been moving south to shelters. UNICEF is providing some life-saving aid. We're providing hygiene kits, water services, trucking water to shelters, for example, and also trying to move medical supplies around to hospitals that need them badly. But it's not enough. I mean, we need to really scale up that life-saving aid, get in more trucks every day. There's on average 43, which is way below what was even going in before this current crisis. So we need to massively scale that and get supplies across the whole of the Gaza Strip to at least alleviate some of the suffering that children and civilians are going through.
Yeah, and you're talking about moving that medical supplies to some of those hospitals. We're told that parents are actually trapped at hospitals, in health centers in Gaza, like you're mentioning, because of that fighting that's happening on the outside. So how is it that you're able to get medical supplies to them, or are there some hospitals you just frankly cannot get to because of the scene?
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely difficult right now, particularly across the northern part of the Gaza Strip, where the hostilities are incredibly intense. We have been moving supplies around, mainly around the southern middle areas, and we have reached the north on occasions, but right now it's incredibly difficult because it's so dangerous there. You have now many people who have sought shelter in hospital grounds where they're hoping to stay safe. But even there, it's not safe. I mean, nowhere is safe for any child right now in the Gaza Strip. But we need to do what we can. We need to keep advocating for the protection of children, the protection of civilians, and to do what we can to get supplies everywhere, wherever we can. But it's harder and harder. And you've seen now that more than 100 UN staff members have been killed. UNICEF staff members have family who have been killed as well. So it's extremely difficult.
But so then, in your opinion, there's really no safe way for them to get out right now, and it's better to just stay in place and get the help from organizations like you?
Well, I mean, I can't say that. I mean, it's so fluid, right? It changes on the ground all the time. People in different areas then move. Some can't because it becomes too dangerous.
Okay.
So we are providing services to shelters as quickly as we can to try and at least improve, for example, the sanitary conditions, the access to safe water, which is so hard to get now for people. And there's no transport to move around. Very difficult for families to find. And that's why we're just trying to at least improve services in certain areas wherever we can, but that should be everywhere. But we are able to use, UNICEF has a desalination plant which creates safe water, and we are still running that at minimal capacity.
Yeah.
But we're able to provide some water to civilians and children who come there, and also through trucking as well.
We're seeing that the water truck right there on the screen right now, providing those resources to those who need it. You know, the big question for those folks back here in our area and really around the world is how can we help, right? People want to help, they don't know how to or where to go. What's your recommendation?
Well, I mean, firstly, UNICEF is extremely grateful for all the generous support from individuals, from others. And we keep calling for that support. UNICEFUSA.org/Gaza has a page, a crisis page where people can donate. And we call on that because that support is critical. We are able to get supplies in and to move them around as much as we can. And our teams on the ground are working around the clock to do whatever they can to at least provide some relief to children and civilians living through this.
Yeah, it can feel like it's a helpless feeling from here, just feeling like we can't do anything from where we're standing. So thank you for that. Thank you for the work that you are doing there, Toby. We really appreciate your time, and please stay safe.
Thanks so much.